Hi all, this is Skate, and this is the, well, new Fort Despair. Doesn't really look that new though. But they've basically changed the appearance of the buildings and they've adjusted some of the terrain around the cap. Other than that, not a great deal has changed. So it does beg the question of what's the point in adjusting this so slightly. I mean, the good part is it's not completely flattened, and that's the one thing we were terrified about them doing, is completely flatten the terrain, and they haven't. They've tapered off that one on the left hand side, the camp destroyer spawn. The medium route you can see on your right is identical to as it was before. Rocks in the same place, buildings in the same place. The only thing they've changed is the appearance of the buildings and the rocks. Tank destroyer spawn just behind where the camera is now, and on the other side can now see straight into the cap circle. And the ground has been flattened a little bit around here. I'm not actually going to complain about this hill taper here. And the reason being is because you can actually use gun depression on a lot of tanks there now, as with before you couldn't. So what they've done here isn't a bad thing. Yeah, it's not flattened, so to speak. It's been smoothed, so there's less drops. But it's not a bad thing, but I still don't see why it needed changing. Surely the time spent in adjusting this could have just gone into building a new map. Obviously they have access to heat sensors on maps and all things like that which we don't get to see. So maybe they're seeing things which we don't see or don't have access to see. I do like the fact you can now shoot straight into the cap from those tank destroyer camping spots. But as I said, there's only minor things which have changed throughout the map. The whole appearance of buildings has changed, but you can see everything is situated in exactly the same position it was before. We'll take my bulldog around the map now just so you can see the minor things which have changed. But the cap there, it does look flatter from this angle, but it's not. It's still the same height. It's just, I can't even describe it. It's just smoothed off, so instead of having a harsh drop off the hill, you've got a tapered drop. So something with gun depression like the Centurion, that will be able to use the terrain round the cap point a little bit more. This time we're in Supremacy just so you can see the differences, or... well, again, there isn't any differences in terms of spawn locations. You can see the building by here is exactly the same again. The rock is the same, it's in the same position. There's nothing changed on this side of the map except for appearance wise. And I must admit, I always get apprehensive when I hear about map being reworked, because we all think the same. Is it going to be flattened? On this one, it's quite the opposite. I'm sitting there thinking, well, what was the point in reworking it if you've only changed minor things here and there? Just spend the time making a new map. You can see all the way down here is exactly the same. As we get up this tank destroyer spot by here, you'll see the bushes are laid out better. It's angled slightly different than the hill is. You can guarantee mediums are still going to sit there because you can see straight into the cap circle now as well, which is a good thing for the tank destroyers, but like I said, you know your mediums are going to sit there. If we go up the hill by here as well, you'll see it's tapered, as I mentioned earlier, so you can use the gun depression and use the bushes better. I'm actually testing it out with the bulldog to see if you can use it better. I think the only thing I had fun using this hill on was the Dicamax. You could just get the Dicamax right on the edge and pop shots off all day long. Now I can do it in my Centurion. This spawn point, or not spawn point, sorry, this tank destroyer point is again ever so slightly different. Bushes have been laid out better in a quite clearly a straight line, just so you've got a perfect concealment. Again though, it's minuscule, probably won't even be noticed by the vast majority. This, like I said, is where an area that has changed. This wall now, you can see over, and you haven't got a gap at the back. This wall is the same. It's going to be a nice point for something like a T-30, something with a very heavy turret, to hide its hull and use the entire length of the wall rather than just some of it. And you can see we still have the same sight lines down there. And it is the same on the other side. The sight lines are identical. The buildings themselves haven't moved location. Again, all the way around here is exactly the same, except as we go across this wall, you'll see the wall's fully built up all the way. Then it's bushed, and then fully built up wall again. Up here, exactly the same. Nothing's changed in that aspect, except on the right hand side now you can see straight into the spawn points. It wasn't that clear last time. Again, it's not a tremendous difference, but you can push yourself up this way and see into the spawn points a little bit better. So if we work our way down the heavy tank line, we'll be able to show you again the very subtle differences which have been made. You'll see that corner by there, it's missing that chunk of wall, so you can use tanks off the corner there. The rocks have been changed in appearance, and I caught myself on the corner of that rock pile here. You'll see there's big rocks just sticking out. You will catch a tank on them, and I can guarantee you're going to see people catching a tank. If we look by here now, there's a rock on the floor. People are going to catch themselves. I actually thought, hang on, did I actually hit the wall, or there's a rock? There are rocks, just they're models, you can't just drive over them. So people are going to catch themselves without a doubt. Now by here, rubble's been cleared and moved, and you've got a better line of sight again for heavy topped tanks. Your T30, your T29. Your Americans are going to love that bit by there. And again, by here, they've reduced the wall and made it more accessible by there. Heavy tanks, or tall tanks, will be able to see over that and get eyes into the cap circle and tanks coming down the heavy line. And then just so we've covered all areas of the map, this point is again exactly the same. You can see a little bit more again on the left hand side though of the cap circle. As with before, you couldn't see all of the cap circle. But your view range across the map in terms of what feels familiar is still going to feel familiar, just with slight alterations. But that's pretty much all I'm going to cover in this video. Shorter than my average video, but there's not really a lot I can say about it. There's only minor differences. I don't really want to make a 15-minute video about a map which hasn't really changed that much. And to be fair, it's hard to fill up the time to explain all this, because what do you want me to say? There's a bush again. It's the same bush that was there last time. There's the hill. It's the same as last time, just slightly smoothed. You can still use T62s, hull down tanks by here. It's just the same map with very, very slight tweaks. But I know a lot of people are concerned as to what this would look like after it's been altered, so I wanted to make sure we did do a video to make sure it was covered. I would personally say it doesn't look like there's anything to be concerned about, and if anything, that central cap area is better now. But that's all for this video, guys. I hope you have enjoyed. Shorter than usual, but still I hope you have enjoyed, and I'll catch you in the next one. Bye bye.